Top of the day, my beautiful people. Well, whatever part of the day it is for you guys. Um, this video is in response to our beautiful sister, the star, Miss AfroDeity Stone, in reference to mentally ill or spiritual awakening, something in reference to that. I'll have the correct title in the video. That was a heavy video, my sister. That was an extremely heavy piece. And I could so relate to that. In a few of my videos, I talked about my my mental issues, or what these Westerners were trying to get me to believe that I had a mental issue. And it's so funny. I saw the video yesterday, earlier in the day when I was at school, but I didn't watch it because I said I need to be at home and sit down, because some just was stirring up in me to say, yeah, you gonna need to no interruptions with this from the kids or nothing, because all of them not gonna sit down and watch the videos with me. Sorry about this moving. Um, I'm trying to just get it right because I got a problem. You know, I have I like things to be straight, but hey, anyway. Um, yeah. So I watched it last night, and I watched it this morning. But it's funny that I looked at it because I was talking to my son, my 15-year-old God, should I say, and I was telling him that when I went into the hospital in 2010, um, I met some people because I was looking up a video on YouTube about bipolar or spiritual awakening. I was looking at that last night, and I've been going back and forth to all of that for a little while because I've been having a lot of visions and dreams. So I've been running back and forth to different things. Um, and I was telling him that when I was in the hospital, my first night I got there, I checked myself in, by the way, because I was just out of there. I was out of there trying to figure out what was going on. And the first night I got into the hospital, I ran into a non-melanated sister of ours, and I was combing my hair. I had my fro at that time, and I had twisted back, and the front was all loose. And she came and she grabbed the comb. Her name was Gretchen. She grabbed that comb and she said, "You can't, you can never calm them out. They're there to stay. You can never calm them out. Once you hear them, they're there to stay. You can't get rid of them." So we're struggling back and forth with my comb, back and forth with my comb, and they were telling her, "Gretchen, let the comb go." I'm looking at her, and I had this smile on my face. I wasn't threatened, and she's looking at me so seriously in my eyes, and she was so serious about what she was saying, and she was like, "You can't ever calm them out. They're there to stay." She let go of my comb. I was okay. I saw Gretchen maybe 2 days later. We were eating lunch or something, and I stayed in the hospital 5 days, 7 days, I think, anywhere from 5 to 7 days. And when I saw her, she came up to me and she said, "I wanted to apologize if I offended you in any way." And I said, "What makes you say that?" Because I wasn't offended. But she said, "You know, when they give me this medication, it makes me not speak the truth. And when I'm not on the medication, I tell the truth." She left it at that, and she walked away. It kind of like messed with me a little bit, but I looked at her as she walked away. Um, I didn't read too much in it, but I felt something from Gretchen. And later the whispers, because everybody was in there, that everybody that comes into that hospital don't actually have something mentally going on. They're just there to get the steady, you know. They're just there to get that. But one of the staff members, a black guy, ended up telling me that, she is an extremely talented artist. Every so often she comes in here because she stops taking the medication, and she has to come back in here to get stabilized. But her work is brilliant, something you've never ever seen. She had the wildest eyes, but they were the wild eyes that was like for me because I've always been this imaginary person that lived in all kind of realms within my head. That's why I could never take the thing of being bipolar. I just felt like I'm bouncing around places I've never actually seen before. And with me seeing Gretchen, her eyes just they danced to me. And while they may look scary to other people, they excited me because I knew that there was something else behind that. Eugene was another person, one of our non melanated brothers that was in there. And he smoked cigarettes a whole bunch. He would come and sit sit by me. I can't remember when he made himself known to me, but I was sitting on the couch one day and he came and plopped right down next to me and he crossed his legs. And he wouldn't look at me. He was just like he was looking straight ahead and he was like, "I'm Eugene." I'm like, "Hi, Eugene." And when I would look his way, he would turn his head. When I would turn my head back, he would turn his head straight. And he did that for a while. When he would sit down, he would cross his legs and he would pat the space in between us on the couch and he would shake his foot. I've always been a very observant person. I'm a people watcher. I've been a people watcher all my life. Um, I would see Eugene walking through the hallway, and he made it quite often. Whenever he saw a space next to me on the couch, he would come and sit by me. Never ever really saying too much, but he would come and sit. So he got comfortable enough one day, and he began to talk, and he was saying, "My parents put me in a group home because they think that I'm crazy and they're scared of me because I see things that they don't. So everyone thinks that I'm crazy." Um, and so I'm not crazy. I just see the other things that everybody else don't see. Eugene was 29. I guess this psychosis, because I think those two were both labeled as schizophrenic. The psychosis of everything that they were seeing and them swallowing that that label, that mental label. His hair was gone in the middle. Um, Meeting Gretchen and Eugene, I'm looking out my window. Meeting Gretchen and Eugene, those two things kind of did something to me. There was a black guy named Ralph also that lives. He be in my neighborhood. I don't know if Ralph thing was drugs, if it was crack cocaine or whatever, but Ralph used to say some off the wall things. And even in the neighborhood, when I would see him, he would always be so angry and so rude. So I always stayed away from Ralph. But when he came into the hospital, I was looking at him like, I know this man. And when he first got there, they couldn't get Ralph to take a bath. He would not take a bath because he kept screaming about something about I won't dare get in the tub with two men or nothing like that. And he was just having some things going on. Once they got him medicated, Ralph, extremely smart, and I guess it goes to like they say, I'm looking at the time. Those that are labeled with any kind of mental defect, the the creative monsters, goddesses, and I don't say monster in a bad way. The the divine creative person within us is just like people can't believe it. People can't believe it. Um, I also met another woman in there that I felt like that was who I was supposed to be because I went into that hospital. I had got to the point to whereas I had become suicidal and homicidal. I wanted to kill myself at first. Then I had the thought of I was going to kill my kids because I didn't want my kids to feel like I killed myself because of them. And I knew that that was not me. I wouldn't hurt nobody unless they were trying to hurt me. I do also believe that certain things happen in our lives that trigger us because I was 33 when the ball got to really, really rolling. And I too was a child of being molested. But the thing of it is, when those things happened to me, I was never upset at those men because something in my head was telling me this was it was if I can say ordained, it was supposed to happen. Um, and I wasn't supposed to hold that anger. I served that particular purpose in their life, and them doing that to me would it was molding, it was shaping something. So I swallowed that pill and accepted that a long time ago. Before the age of 10, I accepted that because everything happened before the age of 10, the first initial time. So I swallowed that and I dealt with that. Um, but I do believe things happen in our life that starts to trigger that. And one of the things, I'm still married, but the man is in prison. We've gotten into an argument. He was strung out on cocaine. He decided that he wanted to get abusive, and he struck me before, and I let him know, hey, if you ever put your hands on me again, man, I'll kill you. Straight like that. And I guess he decided that he wanted to try it, so he hit me, and I stabbed him. But with me doing that, even though I was defending myself, it just something else. It did something to me. It threw me for a loop because what I was saying, what I was telling myself was that I can't believe that I could have took somebody else's life. I value another person's life. I cried when I hit a dog, even though I saw this dog out my rearview mirror get up and walk away. But I think that when he did that, that really just pushed me into my realm. That I think that was the beginning of my spiritual awakening. I started to go downhill from there, um, and the thoughts would come in. I would stand in the mirror all the time and just look at my face, and over time, I started to just say, I don't know who I'm looking at. Who am I? Who am I? And one morning when I got up, I just looked in the mirror and I was looking into my eyes, and it was like, who are you? I don't even know who the fuck I am. That was my statement. Um, and I think on that day, I actually decided that I'm going to check myself into the hospital, because when I made that statement to myself, and I'm looking at the face I've been looking at for, I'm going to say 33, because I was 33, 33 years, to not know who you are, to have become a mother, to not knowing how a mother is actually supposed to feel, to give love to their child, their kids that they brought into this earth. I was mixed up. I was really mixed up. When I went into the hospital, and I hope I'm not going out point because I do that a whole bunch. I wrote a list down too. But when I went into that hospital, I um I asked the doctor, is it possible for a person to have multiple personalities and each one of them know exactly what the other one is doing? He said, no, it's not possible. How do you know? Because it's never been medically proven. So I sat there and I just looked at him and I said, I'm I can't, I'm not accepting this, because how do I go from being normal all of my life, and now you're telling me because I got sad or because I suffered through depression, I got a little bit depressed. I even thought it was postpartum depression, but my baby was 8 at that time. Um, I say I just can't believe that a person just becomes this all of a sudden. It just don't sit well with me. He was like, well, things happen, and you probably have been this way all of your life, but you never really knew. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever you say. I took the medicine. How long? I took that medicine for a little while. I didn't even take that medicine for 6 months. I came home and I was taking the medicine. I was making cocktails out of the medicine also. And what a lot of people don't realize, and I will tell anybody that I sit down and talk to now to get this label on them, those prescribed legal drugs are the worst things we can put into our body. I was given prescribed 3 different pills, um, and I would make a cocktail out of them pills that was, hey, better than any street thing I've ever put my hands on. Should I tell you that? And I took ecstasy, marijuana, um, what is that? Churn, if no, formaldehyde on a weed square, formaldehyde on a cigarette. I've tried all of them. Those drugs had me so out of my mind. Even on one pill, even when I did make the cocktail, that I heard myself saying, no, stop doing this. I don't like how this makes us feel. We're not supposed to feel like this. I felt like I was in a straitjacket. And I had been feeling that for a while, but I kept pushing it to the back because I was like, that's just my mind don't want to get right. But at the top of my heart, I knew that I wasn't bipolar because I knew what I was experiencing. I knew that in time I figured out that voice that I was hearing, it was my own voice talking to me. And now I overstand and understand that it was never anything wrong with that. I'm communicating with myself to wake up. Um, what else? The manic phases. I would spend the money because I was working for in 2010, about I think in 2009, maybe 2008. I don't know when the worst time was, but I had noticed that I would pay my bills and everything else. I would spend all of my money on clothes just for me. I completely forgot about my kids. My mom was staying at the house with us at this time. I would come home from work, close my door, and be very outraged, and I'm talking about furious, if somebody came and knocked on this door. I would stay away from the house. For 6 months, I drank every day. I had me a little pint of Christian Brothers in my car every day. When I got off work, I'd grab me a cup of ice, pour it up, and sit in the traffic on my way home. I used to hate to come home. So I drank for 6 months. I was a druggie for 6 months, and that was on the Mary. Because I cut everything else out. Um, I was on the Mary. That was my thing. And I refused to say that I was addicted because I felt like after a hard day's work, 8 hours sitting at a computer all day, I deserved to come home and smoke. And not because I needed it. I did it because I wanted to and because I enjoyed marijuana. But they wanted to tell me, no, you're addicted. No, I don't have to have it. And I go some days without it. But if I come home from work and I want to smoke me 5 blunts, I'm going to do that. Um, in the manic stages, also, I was sex crazed. And I couldn't understand at that time, why am I doing my body like this? Why am I just misusing myself? What is going on? So I kicked the first two very easily. I stopped spending my money. The drinking stopped. And over time, I stopped getting as loaded from the mirror, so my high was going away. So I started telling myself in my mind that, okay, I'm not on the meds no more. The liquor ain't doing it no more. The mirror not doing it no more. Something else is going on. So the sex was the last thing that I was holding on to. Um, and eventually that went away. We, as the highly melanated people, I've come to find out is that the subject, the conversation of a mental disorder or black people going to a shrink, anything, all of that is swept under the rug, or we just choose to lay down and accept that diagnosis that these Western doctors give us and not really look into it. And it's like you said that you know that it don't be anything that's wrong with you. For me, I knew going into it that something was going on. I couldn't put my finger on it. I've always been, now I know what the word is. I was an empath. I've always had, I was very the whatever, empathetic, empathy, empathy. I've always had a lot of empathy for people, even growing up as a kid. But my grandmother used to say, "Oh, you just a crybaby. You cry about anything." So I went from extreme crying, from extreme bouts of meanness, um, and I couldn't understand that. I couldn't understand that either. But I was just used to hear you evil because you go from this extreme to the other extreme. But what I now understand is that I was soaking up other people's energy. I was soaking up all of their dang on pain, and I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know how to shift it around or not let it affect me anymore. So just as black, and I jumped off the subject because I don't know what happened, but it happened. Um, yeah, black us highly melanated ones, we just choose to ignore that and not look any deeper. Um, and ugh, I just forgot. I just forgot. You know, I don't know how to edit no video. It was something I was going there with that. Um, I had no idea what a spiritual awakening was. My family wasn't, and they're still not in tune with anything like that. They still think the things that I tell them about my visions and everything, that I'm headed back to the nut house as far as they know it. They just like, oh, she's crazy. She don't really come around anymore. Um, when she do come around or when she do talk, it's something weird, and we don't look any further. We don't just investigate or listen to our own intuition. We don't listen to our first mind, and our first mind is ourself. It's ourself. But this video was very, very heavy because I walked down that road. I walked down that road, and it was a journey. It was a real journey. That's the only thing that I can say that it was. Um, but I'm good to be at this point now, and I found that two of my cousins now, they doctors have been diagnosing them with bipolar. And the thing about that bipolar, that label, is that it's whatever that medical book that diagnoses people, on that sheet they look at a list of things. If you are 7 to 11 of those things on that piece of paper, you get this label. Excuse me. What I told him was, according to this paper right here, this is everybody in this world. So there's no blood work you can do. There's no way that you can scan my brain that would mine or anybody else's, that would tell you, okay, yes, this is. You're going off a piece of paper, some symptoms that everybody will go through in their lifetime. So you might as well label everyone as this. This don't make any sense. And when my cousins came to me and told me, because one of us, we wasn't really talking, I just told her, hey, don't take that medicine. It's not supposed to be in your body. It's going to kill you. And for one, you don't have no you're not bipolar. There's nothing wrong with you. You just need to sit down. You need to shift some things in your life and make your life better. Don't accept that diagnosis because you wasn't born that way. Anybody that has, for me, you can't jump from one thing that was never there and become something else. If there's a disability, unless you have a car wreck or something like that, you just don't go from a normal level, so-called normal level, to this extreme off the wall thing. But it's like you said, whoever can buy that, they'll buy that. But for those that know better, and you know what you hear, you know what your hands can do when you put them on something to make something so beautiful. You know what can come out of your mouth, and it makes sense. And when I say those two things, you know that it's the artist that's coming out, that's in you, that's trying to speak. Um, it's just this that mental illness and spiritual awakening. They're so closely connected, and because other people cannot hear what you hear nor see what you see, it's like you said, they want to say that you are cuckoo. And if I could see Gretchen again, I would just really want to see some of her work, because that statement was powerful. When I'm when I'm on the medicine, it makes me say things that are not true. When I'm off the medicine, I say things that are true. So only a person actually that in their right mind and have uncommon sense can piece that together and know that, no, I'm not what you say I am. I'm better than that. I am who I am because of this jacket that you're trying to stick on my back that is not even what you think it is. I am brilliant. I am spiritual. I am a goddess. It's it's what everybody can accept for them at any time of the day. It's what you're willing to accept, um, and what you're not willing to accept. And your aunt coming into your life telling you that she did you a that's one of the best things she could have ever did. Screw what the family say, and her telling you that she knew what the deal was. Because in that other realm, if they have not experienced it, they don't know the beauty of it. They're scared of it. And that's not our problem. It's actually theirs. Because we're where we have gotten to the point we are where they should be at. I love you for this video. Thank you for this. Because I tell my story whenever that somebody comes into my face that I'm supposed to tell it to, because it's not supposed to go to everybody. So now, hey, it's viral.